Hey, Alli, what's going on with you?
Hey, Shawna, what's going on with you?
I think that it's time, since we've been podcasting for a year, that we just do a little catch up.
Let's dive in and catch up on what's been going on for the past year and with this podcast, where we are now, what we do, and let's give a shout out. Who's our shout out for our Girls Talk Healthy Aging listener that we want to give a props to?
Thank you, Leona Cook. Thanks for supporting us and sharing the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast with your friends. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, where we dive deep into pressing health and fitness issues facing aging women. I'm Alli Kerr.
And I'm Shawna Kaminski. And together we'll bring candid conversations, expert advice, and personal stories that will inspire and empower you on your own wellness journey.
Hey, Alli, are you motivated towards your health goals these days?
Shawna, there's a lot going on, especially in the Southeast right now. We've had some hurricanes and craziness, and I think, and then we've got an election here in the U.S. I know you're in Canada coming up, and I think people's minds are just all over the place right this second, and maybe not on working out.
I think the fallacy is that people think that because you're maybe a health professional, that you are just like motivated to do all the things all the time. And I think we should be here to dispel that myth.
Yeah, Shawna, there's definitely, I think people do think that, oh, y'all just work out all the time and it's easy for you and you're always motivated. And I joke and tell, it's honestly the opposite. I would say I'm like never motivated. It's probably rare that I'm motivated to work out. It's not that it's something that I do because of motivation or because I'm gung ho about it. What about you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes I'm super excited to get to my workout, and other times it's just like brushing my teeth. It's like, well, it's not a choice as to whether I'm going to do it necessarily. I might be modifying it. It might be shortened, or you might have to change it because of time or whatever. But there's always something that I would do, and like I said, it would be like brushing your teeth. That's how your fitness should be. It should be like brushing your teeth. Sometimes you have a good long brush and you floss and you do all the things. Other times it's just a quick one.
Yeah, and then I know at my age, getting into that perimenopausal thing, there always seems to be something wrong too with the joint. The joint seems to be hurting me. If it's not my shoulder, it's my hip. If it's not my hip, it's my knee. And so that
Exactly.
is also just, you have to modify. And it's also like, it's frustrating when you are wanting to work out, wanting to do all the things, and your body is just not agreed.
Yeah. But if you wait for all those things to kind of come together, be waiting a long time. I mean, it's just such a stupid and quirky injury of swimming, got a scratch cornea in my swim goggles. And this is the second time in a year that this has happened. And that's kind of debilitating. I couldn't swim. I mean, I felt like a pirate. I wore a patch for a while. It's like I had a headache. But so my swimming was put on the back burner because my eye doctor said I couldn't. But I did do something else then because, I'm always talking about all or something. So I couldn't swim. What could I do? And same for you. Like, I know you haven't be able to do some things because you've got this hip issue going on. I'm the queen of hip issues. Thankfully, they're in the past, but I know what that's like. So what are you doing when you can't do the things that you want to do?
One, I get very frustrated, and then I get mad, and then I may even get a little like self pity going, and then I will find something. I think there's a little bit of stubbornness that kicks in, and I'm like, all right, hip, you're not gonna win, you're not gonna beat me, buddy. So I'm gonna do some more pull ups or something that I can do with my upper body, and it may not be the same. Like my workouts may be diminished, however, and I will say this, I do better and get more excited about going to any kind of coached workout versus on my own kind of workout.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
you know, that's if I can go to it being a coached workout, that's always best for me. When I go to aerial and I have a coach, I'm in a group or small group doing that, or I'm doing an acrobatics. I don't think I've told you that I do an acrobatics class now once a week, and so that's coached and that is helpful. And but I've had to miss some of those because of the hip. And
Yeah.
so it's really, sometimes you're just keeping your head above water and figuring out things you can do, or depending on what kind of coach you work with and what you're doing, you may be able to. I know in our worlds, because of what we do, we're able to modify things so clients don't have to actually stop, which is one of the good things. There are some things like with swimming, like you had to actually stop because you couldn't get your eye wet,
Right.
and so, but with our clients with working
Yeah.
out, typically they don't have to stop. They might
No.
get frustrated and have to reroute. But that's one of the great things about the fitness side, indoor fitness or outdoor, being in a controlled environment and
Yeah.
being with a coach, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, two things there. Number one is that even coaches need coaches. I have coaches for Olympic weightlifting, for swimming. You do, we've had business coaches. Like, coaches provide the accountability, and sometimes they see things that you don't see. So they can keep you moving on and motivated, the accountability. But the second thing I liked that you said is that, hey, my hip was sore, so I did pull ups. Because I think so often when people have an injury or a setback, they think, well, I guess I'm not doing anything. And, if you have a knee injury, you still could train upper body. There's always something you can do. And strategy that I use a lot with my clients is movement snacks. If you can't get to a full workout, everybody discounts what they think, well, I need to do an hour. I need to get hot and sweaty. But honestly, there's a study that is showing that if you got up and did 10 bodyweight squats every 45 minutes, that's the equivalent of a 30-minute walk, because you might not have 30 minutes to get a walk in some days, but 10 bodyweight squats takes less than 10 seconds. So it's those quick movement snacks that you might not even think of on your own to begin with, but having a coach to kind of give you some ideas is a great way to handle your fitness. Because I know people that think, oh, I need to get an hour in a couple times a week, and they just can't get it. So at the end of the week, they've had 0 hours. But if you suggest, all right, here's a 5-minute workout, here's a 10-minute workout to do every day, at the end of the week, they might have chalked up, the 150 minutes or even at least the 75 minutes of movement that is required or suggested. So it's those small bits that make a big difference.
We're going to interrupt this interview for just a second because we've got something we want to make sure that you know. If you're struggling with your health, with your fitness, if you don't know where to start, or you know what to do and you're not doing it, we're here for you. And all you need to do to get our help is to reach out to Shawna and I at our email, sapodcast23@gmail.com. And we're happy to help, and we will be in touch. Now back to the show.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It definitely adds up, even doing the little stuff. And I just want to put out there that I'm having work done at my house. So if y'all hear any banging while we're talking in this podcast, that's what's going on. To add to all that we talked about, all the stuff going on in the Southeast. Thankfully, mine is not from any kind of storm damage. So I'm just having the maintenance done on my house. So you might hear some banging. But back to what you were saying, movement snacks, yes. And then the other thing that I find is that is helpful with having a coach is having someone that can maybe show you how to reroute. Because I know, okay, I can do pull-ups, but someone else might not know what to do instead of ABC, and how they can be working on something. And I look at it, and I think this is because this is my way of coping with having a chronic illness of Crohn's disease, and it's a constant setback with that. And so I've had to learn how to deal with setbacks and deal with a lot of them and deal with them pretty often. And so one of the ways that I cope and not lose my mind is by finding other things to work on. And so I will use it. I look at it as an opportunity. That's the word I use with myself. This is an opportunity while I'm down and out over here to work on something over here that I maybe haven't worked on, or just haven't had the inkling to work on. And so I look at it as an opportunity. Oddly, I know that can sound crazy, but that works for me to help reframe my mind. And we talked about physical setbacks with like having an injury, but one of the biggest setbacks that I know I see with my clients and even with myself can be mental setbacks. And so coming up with exercises and coaching techniques and things to do on the mental side, I think are just as important as those movement snacks on the physical side. Do you find that to be something that you're dealing with your clients? Because I know I deal with that, the mental
absolutely.
setbacks.
Yeah, I'm going to address the setbacks in a second, but I want to get back to the idea that you said, the opportunity. Rather than saying I have to work out, I get to work out, and focusing on the things that you can do instead of the things that you can't do. So, sometimes there's those nagging little injuries, like my stupid cornea took a couple weeks to get over. But then there's bigger setbacks, like surgeries, like when I had my hips replaced. Those are a little bit like longer term, or your Crohn's disease. So where it's maybe a bit longer term recovery. And so focusing on the things that you can do helps keep more of a positive attitude. Because if I sat on the couch recovering from my hip, I could sit and think about, well, I can't be squatting, I can't be snatching, I can't be clean and jerking, I can't even walk around the block, I'm not going to be skiing for a while. Like, the list is long. And then that can be really mentally draining. So then segueing into mental setbacks, it is all about attitude. And sometimes it is the window that you're looking through. I don't know about you, but it's the whole idea of aging too, because, and the whole idea of menopause, because it can have like such a negative connotation. And if you just keep hearing it's bad, it's terrible, it's awful, that's kind of what you're going to bring to your day. But, and I don't want to just be like a saccharine Mary sunshine, but honestly, having more of a positive attitude towards, like, there are some terrible things about menopause and about aging, but like one of my clients, one of her friends died of ALS. And so we talk about aging in that, like, what a gift. This person didn't get to turn 60. Wow, I'm pretty lucky that I get to turn 60, even if my knees are a bit creaky. So looking at things from a different perspective really can change your motivation and your mentality over that. Sometimes it takes some outside perspective again to help bring that to light. Thoughts?
Yes, I think that the mental side is something that affects us in all the areas of our life, relationships, in our businesses, in our workouts. Like, what's going on upstairs is going to definitely affect. So the more that we can do to build, just like we build our muscles in the workout room, then get them stronger, the more that we can do to build a positive mindset and a can-do attitude, instead of focusing on all the, because here's the thing, whoever is out there listening and you've got tough times going on, or you've got setbacks, you are not alone. Nobody is alone. Nobody is immune to setbacks. Nobody's immune to pain. Nobody's immune to struggles. And so, it's what we do with that. And it starts in our head. Although physical is a way to help relieve some of the things going on in our head. And so I know for me, that's one of the loves that I do have for fitness, even though I'm not always motivated to do it. I'm like never motivated to do it. However, I am motivated that I can do it. And I do feel fortunate that I can do the things that I can do. And that is something that I think that is a good perspective maybe for us to all just look at when we're struggling mentally. Movement is one of the best, even when we don't want to do it. You really do have to override your brain. This is something I tell my clients all the time, is you have to override your brain, because you're in a mental funk right now. I call it a mental funk. And if you can stay in that and you can wallow in it, and it, your body and mind will just be just as happy to do that. Not happy, but it's easier to do that than get up and override our brain and go and do something that's counter to what our mind is saying that it wants and needs in that moment.
Yeah, sometimes, and I've heard this from psychiatrists or psychologists, like, is that if you're stuck in your head, then to get in your body. And it doesn't have to be to run a marathon. It could just be a walk. And so that, and like I hear a lot that in fact, I just spoke with a client yesterday who was onboarding to my programs, and it's like, well, I'm going to start next week. I've got this and this and this going on. We've all heard it, right? And I said, wait, every stress that you have, once it is resolved, will be replaced. So if we're always focusing on a stress, it's just a revolving door. There's always a place setter or a placeholder that stress will just be replaced by something else. So learning to deal with, incorporate some healthy habits in the chaos of life is one of the most important things that you can do for yourself. And again, I think the mistake that people think is that they have to do it all. They have to, work out every day. They have to clean up their diet, give up sugar, no wine, get to bed on time, start to meditate, do some yoga and journaling, and of course they're gonna
sing kumbaya.
Yes. But honestly, the best thing to do is, I told this client, I'm like, we're only going to do one thing this week. We're just going to start to be aware of what you're eating, and we're just going to go for a walk a couple times this week. So it just has to be, if you want to take a step towards a healthier you, it just has to be one small thing, because then it's easier to implement and remember, and you're not going to burn yourself out trying to do all the things. Has this been your experience with clients as well? Do it all or do nothing?
All or nothing is one of those mental struggles and challenges that we put on ourselves that we have to work on if we want to be healthy and happy, I believe. Because when I see clients that are all or none, so if you're not all, guess where you are? You're none. And that's not real life. We're not going to be all the time. Let's just face it. And so we need to find a way to be some and be okay with that. And that is just part of building that mental muscle. All the things you were just talking about, that's just part of, those are ways, teaching a client that no, we don't wait until the perfect time. We don't wait till life is all calm. No, we learn how to do this in the depths of the storm. We just had all kind of storms down here, and it's like in the depths of the storm, like you still have to do life, like you still have to do the things. And that's the best time to learn the skills that are needed and to build the strong mind that is needed to be able to make this a lifestyle change, not just when life is good. Because let's be honest, life, I feel like I have a blessed life, an amazing life. But every day is not, just every moment of every day is not all roses and sunshine. And so that is, it's all about learning how to be your best self and take care of yourself no matter your circumstances in life. Right now we've got, like I said, in the Southeast, we've just gone through 2 hurricanes. Thankfully, the second one did not hit our area. It didn't hit Georgia. And the first one missed where I live, but a lot of damage around, and a lot of people, even where I live in Macon, have family members that have been affected. We had some of my family staying with me because their house had been affected, and you just feel the heaviness of it here. So it's enough to just kind of make you feel like you're in a mental fog or funk, just hearing about all the devastation and all the things that people are going through. And it's a lot on our minds. But getting some movement in is the way to get some relief, even if it's just for a few minutes, just getting some relief.
The other thing I often remind people, my clients, is that in these situations when there's high stress, that the answer might not be a super hard workout. Your body might not need that. Your body might need some yoga, some meditation, some like parasympathetic nervous stimulation, gardening, walking, playing with your pet. These don't seem like exercise, but this is going to get you out of your head into your body, and you're going to feel better
breathing,
and then you can get back to those hard workouts. I'm talking about those people that are just compulsive about getting hard workouts in to their detriment. So if you're a listener that is like very disciplined about your workouts, fantastic, that's great. Sometimes having a coach is telling you to put the brakes on, because I have been there where I have just worked myself into the ground. And that's also not beneficial or a balanced approach. So it's important to realize that, again, you can't do it all the time. Sometimes less is better. So I think we should be celebrating, and let's take this episode to do two things, Alli. Number one, we've been podcasting for a year. Go Girls Talk Healthy Aging. And
Yay.
we're also over 10,000 downloads. So for a little podcast from some ladies that didn't know anything about podcasting, I think we should just give ourselves a little high five. High five. But for listeners, I wanted to kind of poke the bear a little bit and say, if you've been we love you for listening, but if you've been listening to us for a while and you're still in the same health situation, it's time to do something.
Amen to that. Yes, it is time. It's been a year, and some of the ladies hopefully have been listening for a whole year, and hopefully you're in a better place. But if you're not, I want to hear, Shawna, what do you do? Let's talk about some people may know that you're a fitness coach and I am, but they may not know what we really do. So can you tell us more about what you do and just your business?
Yeah. I love to help women be more accountable to their habits regarding nutrition and fitness. And so I'm big on accountability, not making sweeping changes, but implementing small changes. I use a coaching app. I will check food logs. I will keep people accountable to their workouts. I provide workouts. I have a great community whereby we meet once a week and talk about successes, number one, because success is always easier when we're feeling good about the process. So we're always looking for wins and maybe what our struggles are and strategies to overcome them. So in a practical sense, the big thing for me is habits coaching that includes nutrition and workouts. And I can provide accountability to both of those, those habits. And I feel very privileged to be part of my clients' lives, because I know, when they're having stresses, and we make suggestions as to, how do we deal with this? And like I said, there's a lot of free stuff out there. You can do workouts for free online. You can download meal plans. But the idea is that we know if you're still struggling, those things don't work because nobody's holding your feet to the fire. So it's the accountability to those things, and there's many ways to get fit and be the best health version of yourself. I will just use science-based, evidence-based programs or, principles to help you. I'm not going to sell supplements or gimmicks or gadgets, magic potions, mostly just education. Coming from a teacher's background, that's what my gig is, getting you to learn so that you don't need me. Not a great business model, Alli. My goal is for my clients to work with me so that they don't need me. Now, I used to have a brick and mortar. I don't anymore, but you still do. Now, you have your feet in both ponds. I have taken it out of the brick and mortar and I am fully online. Tell me about your brick and mortar, and then tell us about what you're doing online as well.
And I, again, want to apologize before I keep muting myself because there's a lot of noise going on. We're actually, like I said, getting some work done on our house. So if you hear banging and pressure washing and all kind of stuff, this is an interesting time to be recording a podcast. But here we are, because that's how we roll. So yes, Brick and Mortars, I own the Pink Physique, and that is a women's training studio. And I train in small groups, 1 to 4 or 5 clients in a session. And our motto is strong girls lift each other. So we ask everyone to bring that mindset in, that they're coming in, going to be lifting other ladies, and these other ladies are going to be lifting them. And one of the things that I like how you talked about, just the difference with a coach. Some of my ladies that obviously come in person, they feel like they need that in-person accountability. But then I also have clients that are not able to come in person, so they want that same accountability in an online format. And a lot of times maybe I've already made a relationship with them, someone I already know, or maybe a client that has maybe moved and they're no longer can do in person. And so that is we also offer online options as well, as far as training, as far as accountability. And one of the things that I like about what you talked about, Shawna, is the accountability piece. And I do think that that's one of the things that sets us apart. Also, people I feel like to have, you can't have a relationship with an app. You can't build a real relationship with a video and not know the person behind that. And there's a real need and want for that, I feel like, from a large portion of the population. They really want to feel connected to someone and know that someone cares. And I know Shawna cares, and I know I care, and I know that's one of the things that we bring to our clients is that care and concern. Sometimes I joke that, because I can get frustrated if I know the client has more potential than what they're giving me, and I may feel like I care more than they do. But
Exactly.
that's not, you can feel that way. But at least they know that I do care, even.
Yeah.
And that's, hopefully they know that, and I know that they know that about you as well. And having that person, when they have questions, they don't have to go to Dr. Google and just try to get confused. They can go straight to one of us. And there is a lot of value in that, because you save a lot of time, energy, and stress when you can get an answer, and a real answer that is suited to you versus some random answer that that's probably not suited to you online. And so that's why you and I we work with coaches. Like you said, coaches need coaches. I'm a big believer in what I do as a coach, what you do as a coach, and also receiving help from mentors and coaches. And there's just value in that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, we've been on podcasting for a year, but I'm not sure we've actually really put it out there, Alli, that
this
we
is
would
what we
love to
do.
help some of our listeners. So
Absolutely.
That's why we thought we were going to do this episode whereby we talked about motivation, lack thereof, and let you know that, hey, we're with you. But we also want you to know that if you need that shoulder, that motivation, that community, that we can provide that for you. So you can reach out to us. Either, Alli, you're on Facebook more, I'm on Instagram more. You can go to sapodcast23@gmail, and we can, some people will resonate with Alli more, or with me, or whatever would be the best fit. We will find it for you, because we don't want to shoehorn you into a program that's not right for you. So if you want to work with us, then feel free to reach out. Now, Alli, if you had a wish for our listeners today, what would it be?
My wish is that lady that's out there listening that is still where she was maybe when she first started listening to this podcast, but wants to be further along in her health and fitness and happiness, that she will absolutely reach out to us. And I think the best way is just that email. If you have email, just email us at S as in Shawna, A as in Alli, podcast23@gmail.com.
I'm with you there, Alli. I think that we should stop being information gatherers and start to take action, because knowing is a great start, but it's not going to get us to the finish line.
Thanks for listening. You'll find me, Alli, on Instagram at Alli Kerr Fitness.
And you'll find me, Shawna, on Instagram at Shawna Kaminski. Feel free to pop us a DM with questions and or feedback. If you're enjoying the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, please subscribe and share it with other health-minded women. Ratings and reviews are also much appreciated and help us get our message out to a larger audience.
Until next time, be healthy and be happy.